If you've ever read a book by Jane Austen or Elizabeth Gaskell or Anthony Trollope and you've thought to yourself, I wish the characters had, thrown off the conventions of their time and acted differently, you have to read this book. Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to my review of The Trouble with Mrs. Montgomery Hurst, the new book from BookTube's own Katie Lumsden. I got a copy of this book a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, and I read it really quick because it's that kind of book. It's that kind of book which engaged me and made me want to keep reading and really made me enjoy the reading experience. So there isn't a lot about the plot I can tell you without giving away a lot of things you're going to want to find out on your own. But the novel is set in 1841. It's set in the fictional county of Wickhamshire, and it kind of revolves around several families. Families who have wealth but not titles, families who have both titles and wealth, families who have a title but no wealth, and so on. And so it covers a lot of things that if you're a reader of Victorian literature or reads superior literature, that you are aware of, the really important at the time period class divisions that existed and how seriously those were taken by the people at the time. In our book here, in Wickhamshire, all of this is thrown really into a bit of disarray when Mr. Montgomery Hurst decides to marry a woman from outside the county, and when he brings her home to the county, she kind of upsets the apple cart in all kinds of ways. And I don't want to go much beyond that, but what that marriage and what the Montgomery Hurst's move to Wickhamshire does is it kind of sets in motion a number of other things. Mr. Montgomery Hurst was one of the most eligible gentlemen in the county. Lots of parents had hopes that he might marry their daughters, and so when he doesn't, it kind of creates this almost kind of musical chairs atmosphere for some of the characters, wondering who they're going to marry and who will they'll be able to marry because of their position or titles or wealth or whatever. And it really then brings up a lot of these class conscious issues of the time period. But before I go any further, let me just say that this book is delightful. The writing is so good. There's so much joy in the telling of the story. If you watch Katie's channel and you read this book, to me, I could hear Katie's voice reading some of the chapters. By the way, she has a video where she reads the first chapter of the book, which I'll link down below. So there's a lot of joy in just the writing of the book and in creating the world that she's created. There's a really great map at the front of the book which she helped create. And so one of the reasons to read the book is just the joy of reading the book and the incredibly great writing. But in addition to that, one of the things I think is most amazing about this is how many characters Katie puts in her book and how she's able to make so many of them multi-dimensional characters and how many of them have a character arc. The story primarily seems to focus on a young woman named Amelia Ashforth. I've forgotten her name now. As always, Ashpoint, yes. And her problems and, her love life and her relationships and her family. But, she goes through and she experiences a character arc and she goes through changes. But so do her friends, so does her father, so does her brother, so does the family of her brother's best friend, so does the reigning kind of beauty of the time period. And they all kind of run up against the conventions of the time period. And in some ways, they all are challenged by those conventions and have to make decisions about what they're going to do. Some fail miserably, some behave awfully, some take action that surprises the people around them, and yet they see it through and they bring about positive change. Some find the loves of their lives, some go off in happiness, some settle, and some are unhappy. And in reality, that I think is a rather remarkable thing to achieve, while at the same time creating a world which feels real, creating a fictional place which feels as real as any world-building fantasy novel makes a place feel. The community is one which is driven by gossip and class consciousness and all kinds of things related to that. Their balls, their dances, their dinners that go awry, and there's also a tremendous amount of humor in the book. There are laugh-out-loud funny scenes, laugh-out-loud funny comments woven through the book. And as I said, one of the great things I found about reading it was just the joy I felt in reading it and the joy I felt that its author must have had in creating it. So like I said, this is a book I think that if you are a fan of or you've read and enjoyed Jane Austen, Elizabeth Gaskell, Anthony Trollope, others from that time period, I think you're going to find that this book really resonates with you, really feels like the happiest version sometimes of those books, the best written versions of those books, and yet it has enough of, I think, kind of modern sensibility to a certain extent to make it feel even more relevant today. It's just a really great achievement, a really great work of historical fiction, and I, for one, will be really unhappy if it's not nominated for awards for historical fiction. Anyway, there you go. There's my review of The Trouble with Mrs. Montgomery Hurst by Katie Lumsden. Let me know if you've read the book, and please feel free to share your opinion about the book in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you for watching.